Hey guys, it's Paul. Hey, wanted to put something quick out about metronomes, working with a metronome. I know I've talked about this before. I'm not going to do anything hugely fancy, but I'm just, this is kind of let's get it started kind of thing. Talk a little bit about some things that we can do with them. Okay, what I have here is a Tama rhythm watch. Okay. Not real sure what they run for now, but I'm going to guess anywhere from 50 to 60 bucks. You don't have to spend that much. You can get a good metronome for anywhere from like $10 to $20. They're readily available, and really all you need is something that's adjustable and has a click. This one, I wanted the headphones and the whole thing because playing drums and everything else, you got to be able to. I wanted to be able to hear it, and I wanted to be able to program it with triplets and all that other stuff. I can do that with that. Some of them you can't, but they're pretty good. If you get, some of the cheaper ones out there have tons of bells and whistles, so it's worth looking into. All right, so what I have here is a key of A Suzuki Manji, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out at 70 beats per minute on the tempo, and I'm just going to play the major scale and try not to get ahead of the beat. And that can be real challenging. So let's try this. Alright, so what I did there was, unfortunately, I decided to subdivide the beat first. I played two notes per beat. That's not how we want to start out, but that's what it sounds like. Let's try this again. I'm going to play one note per beat. Alright, so that was one note per beat. The time before that was actually something called subdividing. So what you can do is you play one note per beat, and then you keep it at the same tempo, and then you work two notes per beat. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and instead of 1, 2, 3, you've got quarter notes, and then you're going to play eighth notes. 1 and 2, and you can. That's where you can, with the eighth notes, you can add the swing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and so on and so forth. But really, what we're working on here is our timing, and making sure that as we're playing these notes, we're not getting ahead of or behind the beat. As you work with one of these, when you get to the point to where you're comfortable with a certain tempo, then you can move it up at will. So what I suggest is, if you get used to a certain tempo, you move it up in 5-beat increments. So from 70 to 75, 75 to 80, 85, and so on and so forth. And as long as you can play it comfortably and with no clams, then you move it up 5 beats, and that's how you're going to build your speed. As you're doing this, if you're really listening, you're also working on your accuracy and your tone. So that's how I use one of these. That's how I use it for guitar. That's how I use it for drums, mandolin, all the instruments that I love to play. I use one of these, and that's how I use the metronome. And it really works for building up that speed. So when you start getting into bending on the lower register for that same scale, I haven't tried this yet, but I'm gonna. Let's see what I can do at 70 beats per minute. I'm gonna play the major scale bending. All right, so okay, wasn't that great? Could have been better. But what I will now do is I will take that and I'll back that off to about 65, and that's going to help me to work on the bending, the straight bends, instead of going from like a note and then into the bend, going from a note into a bent note. So those are all notes from the scale, but I'm going into some of those notes bent already. So, and that's a very, very, very important technique to learn. But one of the great things about this little metronome is it's going to help me to be smoother and more accurate with those notes, and that's what I want. All right, so next thing I thought I'd talk about is that vibrato. So that's 4-draw. So let's see if I can keep it within the parameters of a 70 beat per minute. I got 70 beats per minute. Let's see if I can make the vibrato sound good within that range. I don't like that. It's not smoothing. Here, I don't want it that way. That doesn't sound natural, does it? So let's try it again. Too fast. I don't want a fast vibrato. I want something slower. It's got to fit. So do you see how that's going to push? That's a little bit. I intentionally took that down to 70 because I can fit that vibrato into about an 80 or a 90 beat per minute very easily. What I can't do is make it fit into a 70 beat per minute very easily. So I intentionally did that to show how difficult that can actually make it. That is something I'm going to have to work on and will. It's either or, and what you have to do is just spend a couple of minutes every night doing it, and you can work that out. So I guess the bottom line is what this is going to do is it's going to force me to be able to work those techniques within the parameters of those tempos, and basically that allows you to go on stage with anybody and basically be able to play in time and make it sound good. The last thing that you ever want to do is go on stage and not be able to keep good time, especially if you've got a solid rhythm section. They're going to get upset with you very quickly. All right, so the other great thing about this is with a metronome is that if you're not accustomed to playing with a drummer, or you don't have a drummer at your disposal, it's a great way to keep time, to be able to kind of imagine that you've got a drummer behind you or a rhythm section. And I do that quite a bit. I'll jam to the metronome, and they're portable, of course. So because they're portable, it's a great way of doing that, and it's also a great way of keeping good time while you're doing that. So anyway, I hope that this was a nice little quick shot on the metronome and all the things. Not all the things. There's quite a bit more you can do with these. This was really just kind of a introductory kind of thing. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will do my very, very best to help anybody who needs it. We're all learning together, and I appreciate all the guys that have and continue to help me along. So take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.